You need direction. The reason for that is it's direction that produces primary positive emotion. And so if you need positive emotion to move through life, which you do, because you can't even move without positive emotion, and also positive emotion is a good bulwark against terror and pain. If you need those things, then you need direction, you need a goal, you need a value structure. What you are as a human being and also as an individual, but also what you could become. And that's actually a crucial question in the domains of clinical psychology in particular, because a lot of what you're doing with people as a clinician is trying to figure out who they could become. That's right. You have a problem, your life isn't what it could be. It's like, fine, let's see what it could be like if we changed it. We'll figure out how to change it. That's got to be a negotiated dialogue, right? Because like, I don't know what the hell you should do with your life. I can help you figure it out, maybe. We can talk about it, but you are the person who has to decide if the things that you're aiming for, get you out of bed in the morning, because that's at least one of the crucial issues. So you got to specify the goal. And then you got to specify the transformation processes and start practicing them. And you have to understand that you're going to be bad at it, but it doesn't matter, because bad's fine. Persistent is what you need to be. If you persist, with tiny improvements, if you persist, you win. One of the things you can think about in terms of character development is, so now maybe you understand something about your own personality. You might say, well, what could you do to improve your personality? And the answer is, develop some of the micro routines on the other side of the personality distribution. So if you're disagreeable as hell, maybe you can start learning how to do nice things for people. And that actually works, by the way. So if you take disagreeable people who are depressed and you get them doing nice things for other people, their depression tends to lift. But then by the same token, if you're agreeable, then you should practice doing some things for yourself and being more tough-minded in your negotiations. So you can sort of place yourself on the personality trait distribution. You're extroverted. It's like, okay, man, learn to spend some time with yourself, right? You're low in openness. Well, try reading a book that's outside of your sphere of interest now and then. If you're conscientious, well, you should probably learn how to relax occasionally, and so forth. So I think partly what you're doing as you're developing your personality is not moving the mean much, the average, where you're located, but you're extending the standard deviation so that you're a bigger bag of tricks than you were before. And I think you can practice that consciously. It's like, you're hyper-orderly. It's, well, get a dog, Dogs are messy, horrible things, It's just what you need if you're hyper-orderly, because they're going to leave hair everywhere and force you to live with it. And so, you want to be safe? Forget that, right? That's not in the cards. You're not going to be safe. Well, then you have to be meta-safe. And that's way better, because then you're not safe, but you know how to cope with danger. Well, fine. That solves the problem. And maybe it's even a better solution, because if you're safe, then you just have to stay in your burrow. But if you can confront danger, then you can go wherever you want and you can have an adventure. And maybe that's what you need to do, is to go out and have an adventure. So you don't even want safety, because how exciting is that? Not. Dostoevsky said very clearly, let's say we made you perfectly safe. All that you had to do was eat cakes and worry yourself with the continuation of the species. What would you do? You'd smash it all down as soon as you possibly could, just so you had something interesting and challenging to do. So you don't want safety. You want to be able to cope with danger. That's a whole different thing. And this isn't, again, metaphysical. The clinical data on this is clear. When you treat someone for an anxiety disorder like agoraphobia, you do not get rid of their anxiety. You make them braver. That's way better. There's no going back. Like, once you're agoraphobic, your heart's not doing it's missing beats now and then. It's like death, like the crocodile that's got the clock in its stomach. Death is after you. There's no going back to naivety. You don't get to be safe ever again. Well, so what happens? You get to be stronger. Well, hey, turns out that's a better bargain anyways. You have to ask yourself, and this is the thing you ask yourself, this is the existential question: do you want things to be ordered properly and thrive? Because if the answer to that is yes, you have to give up your hatred of being, you have to give up your resentment, you have to give up your martyrdom and your victimization and all of that. Because to the degree that you carry that forward, it will corrupt you, and you will not want the best. Because if to want the best, you have to be without hatred and rancor and resentment. Because, if I resent you, for your inadequacies or even for your accomplishments. I'm not going to have a conversation with you where I'm aiming for the best. I'm going to have all sorts of motivations. I'm going to take you down somehow, you know, especially if you're successful. That's the Cain and Abel story. It's like, I want to be who you are, but I can't be. So I'll just cut you off at the knees. And that'll do just fine. And then I can get my revenge on you, and I can get my revenge on being, and you know, the fact that it helps turn everything into hell, well, maybe that's just an additional benefit. Do you want to be reborn? It's like, it's not the question. The question is, do you want to burst into flame? And the answer to that generally is no. But that's the wrong answer. The right answer is, you let all that nonsense burn away. And you know, and you might say, well, I don't know what I should leave behind. And the answer to that is, that's a lie. You know some of the things that you should leave behind. All you have to do is ask yourself. You'll come up with a list instantly of 100 stupid things that you're doing that you know you could stop doing. Some of them maybe you don't know you could stop doing. It's like, well, fine, leave those alone for now. But there's a bunch of things you perfectly know well that you could stop doing that would improve your life. And so do that, see what happens. That's a good idea.